the loss of a child. There's no outcome here that I take home my healthy baby girl, so forcing me to continue the pregnancy, the pain and suffering, put me through the risks of continuing the pregnancy, the risks of childbirth again, especially given how my last two went. I think it's cruel.
Today is Monday, December 11th, and believe it or not, it is 2023, not 1923. And that's where we're going to begin this morning. Once again, an aging white man faces indictments, is accused of covering up an affair, faced impeachment, and still his wrecking ball use of political power continues with brutal consequences on the lives of women. This country has lost so much already. Women have lost so much. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, a man or a woman, please look at the face of this moment in time.
Yes, this is America 2023. No, better yet, this is America reaping the dire consequences of Trump's presidency.
I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
What we just learned is that after weeks of what her lawyers say are whiplash that have been hellish for her, she has decided to go out of state, that offers have been coming in from Kansas to Colorado to Canada.
Ultimately decided to take matters into her own hand and leave the states. Millions of women throughout this country are looking for clarity, and like Kate Cox, many of them will not find it in time.
Now, over the weekend, you may have read up on a woman named Kate Cox. She's from Dallas, and she was permitted by a Travis County district judge to terminate her pregnancy due to the fetus having a lethal abnormality. However, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a man who has vocalized being called Trumpy as some sort of compliment, petitioned the state's highest court to halt the ruling, and he succeeded.
Temporary restraining order granted by the Travis County district judge purporting to allow an abortion to proceed will not insulate hospitals, doctors, or anyone else from civil and criminal liability for violating Texas's abortion laws. This includes first-degree felony prosecutions and civil penalties of not less than $100,000 for each violation.
Close with this point. Not just for pregnant women, but for all Americans. Today starts a new era of very, 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 very big government. Very intrusive government.
In response to this medieval overreach, Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski lambasted this, quote, aging white man facing indictments and impeachments while accused of covering up an affair. No, she's not talking about Donald Trump.
Today is Monday, December 11th, and believe it or not, it is 2023, not 1923. And that's where we're going to begin this morning. This is an unsettling and all too common story. Once again, an aging white man faces indictments, is accused of covering up an affair, faced impeachment, and still his wrecking ball use of political power continues with brutal consequences on the lives of women. Sounds familiar. I'm actually not talking about Donald Trump. This time, it's another far-right Republican who considers it a compliment to be called Trumpy. After all, this man, according to Reuters, tried to sue Joe Biden over 50 times on issues including immigration and gun rights and a ton of other garbage. I'm talking, of course, about Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Paxton is so desperate to mimic Trump, so desperate for Trump's support that he led a lawsuit in 2020 to challenge the results of that year's election in Trump's favor. The Supreme Court, of course, quickly threw that out. But that's how desperate he is. The man is so desperate to mimic Trump that he behaves in a cruel, brutal fashion and won't back down until a ill woman is physically and emotionally destroyed. That woman, Kate Cox, and her health is in danger because of Ken Paxton, who is using laws against abortion, thank you, Donald Trump, Leonard Leo, and many others, to make sure her suffering is the most it can be. We gotta wake up. We need to wake the hell up. This country has lost so much already. Women have lost so much. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, a man or a woman, please look at the face of this moment in time. Kate Cox could be your daughter, your sister, your wife, you. Kate Cox is 31 and needs an abortion.
Now, as I said in a video recently, as a husband to a wife 7 months into her pregnancy, I find myself even more enraged at this situation.
This is America.
The loss of a child. There's no outcome here that I take home my healthy baby girl.
Now, this may have riled me up a little bit more than usual because I've watched my wife go through pregnancy for the past 7 months. And when I tell you that us men have no fucking idea the physical and emotional strain of a pregnancy, we just don't. We don't have a clue. And I've said this, if men were the ones to get pregnant, then abortions would be as readily accessible as a fucking drive-through Starbucks. So to see this story of this woman enduring this wantingly, only to be told the earth-shattering news that the fetus has a fatal abnormality that if she were to bring this child into the world, it could cost her her uterus, future ability to have children, or even her life. Then on top of that, being told that that life-saving surgery is going to be blocked, and worse yet, anyone who offers you healthcare to assist in this could face life in prison. Just think of the emotional toll of that. Just think of that for a second. And then you have all of this, right? And you still have people who will say that in 2024, well, I'm not going to vote Democrat because they're just as bad. What are you fucking talking about, mate? This is a direct result of Donald Trump's presidency. This is what happens when he stacks a Supreme Court full of ghouls that want to uphold a medieval policy position, overturning Roe v. Wade and giving states like this the freedom to just enact sweeping laws. And look what the result is. You want to say they're just as bad? Democrats would allow this? You know, I think that more often than not, men are completely naive to the emotional and physical strain of what a pregnancy entails. We simply have no idea. Yet the majority male Texas Supreme Court, enabled by a man who proudly touts overturning a woman's right to choose like it was his Purple Heart, continue to dictate what a woman should be able to do, going as far to go against not only her will, but her doctor's advice to preserve her health and future fertility.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to submit to you that before I ever got in politics, my convictions were forged in the crucibles of the pro-life movement. I ran into a bunch of crazy Catholics, and they talked me into rescuing at abortion clinics. And I rescued in Santa Austin and Corpus Christi and was arrested 37 times. Now, isn't it an irony that today I stand before you as one who could very well win the Texas Supreme Court?
Abortion has been illegal in Texas ever since the US Supreme Court overturned Roe in June of last year, meaning leaving the state is the only option for a woman seeking an abortion unless her life is completely at risk.
It is not a matter of if I will have to say goodbye, but when. I do not want to continue the pain and suffering that has plagued this pregnancy. I do not want to put my body through the risks of continuing this pregnancy. I do not want to continue until my baby dies in my belly, or I have to deliver a stillborn baby, or one where life will be measured in hours or days, full of medical tubes and machinery.
Texas also has a law that allows any citizen to sue someone who helps perform or facilitate an abortion after around 6 weeks of pregnancy. Paxton has warned that even if the courts allow an abortion in this case, the hospitals and doctors would be liable under that law. I mean, just think for a second, the emotional and physical strain this woman is under. Having to go through this pregnancy wantingly, only to find out that the baby she wanted has a lethal abnormality, only to then have to beg for life-saving healthcare in court, that if provided, any doctor who provides her with it are being threatened with punishment, including a lifetime prison sentence. This is America in 2023, and it will only get worse if this man is given a second go at it. Donald Trump is directly responsible for the pain and suffering that Kate Cox is experiencing. Think about it. He appointed the 3 judges who overturned Roe versus Wade, setting the precedent for this to happen. So please, remember that in 2024.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
That Donald Trump got 3 Supreme Court justices on this Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade. That will not be lost on voters.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.